Greetings once again, guys, back in Sydney, and as you can see from behind me, today we've been invited to the media call for the brand new musical production that will be playing in Sydney at the wonderful Lyric Theatre, and that is Anastasia. Extremely looking forward to this. We're just about to head in and check this out. Hopefully you enjoy the footage in the meantime, and I'll be back after this to let you know my thoughts on what I saw today and to give you a preview of the new musical Anastasia. Talk to you soon.
You can see from the spires to the piers of Petersburg. I'd be down on that quay, selling stolen souvenirs of Petersburg. The palaces above and alleyways below. Funny when a city is all you know. How even when you hate it, something in you loves it so. I learned my stuff in some rough company. There's the boy growing up who was me, all I've been, all I'll be. We can't do what we're told, we can't go where we're led, but I learned from my father to see what's ahead. Nothing here to hold me, no one that I owe. Funny how a boy can grow. Funny how a city tells you when it's time to go. Boils down to there are some who have walls yet to climb. You and I on the fly, just in time. But tonight there's a sky and quite a view. Welcome to
they all say the same thing. Past glories, present griefs. the next young. Hey! And the Russians are mad, so let's live in the land of yesterday, live in the grand imperial heyday. Let's live in the land of yesterday. Russia, Russia. Let's brush up the gates of old and let's hold the world. And then here's to Russia. Here's to Russia. Here's to Russia. And all land of yesterday.
Heart, don't fail me now. Courage, don't desert me. Don't turn back now that we're here. People always say life is full of choices. No one ever mentions fear or how the world can seem so vast on a journey to the past. Somewhere down this road, I know someone's waiting. Years of dreams just can't be wrong. Arms will open wide. I'll be safe and wanted. Finally home where I belong. Well, starting now, I'm learning fast on this journey to the Love, family. There was once a time I must have had them too. Home, love, family. I will never be complete until I find you. One step at a time, one hope, then another. Who knows where this road may go? Back to who I was, on to find my future. Things my heart still needs to know. Yes, let this be a sign. Let this road be mine. Let it lead me to my past and bring me home.
Hi.
Hello, Georgina and Robert. Welcome back to Sydney.
Thank you.
This production looks fabulous from what I've seen so far, and what I find really interesting is these very intricate kind of character arcs that you kind of go through, and particularly for both your characters of Anya and Dimitri, it's really influenced by your relationship. Can you comment on that and how that kind of relationship is kind of influences your character arcs?
Yeah, like I think like what's amazing about the show for these characters in particular, and is there is such a flesh like of arc for both. Like speaking from as the pilot of Dimitri, like if we call it that, to start in one place and have such a transformation towards the end of the show is so delicious. One, as an actor, because you're seeing it and you get to kind of just experience that every night, but also for storytelling, like to show audiences that like these characters are being put in extraordinary circumstances where they have to change, and it's kind of just a nice human message to walk out of the show with too, that it's like circumstances can make you a better human, which I think definitely speaks for Dimitri. I think it speaks for most characters in this. But yeah,
they learn from each other.
Exactly.
They learn things about themselves from each other, and I think they learn how to be better people. They both start the show both very kind of hardened and toughened by. They both have really hard upbringings, hard lives that they've sort of reacted to that and become really hardened, like outer shells. And so then in Act 2 we see those shells break away. We see them both become a lot more vulnerable and a lot more like open and free, and that sort of allows them to let each other in, and they sort of realize like their chemistry at the start was a lot of kind of bickering and banter, and then you realize that's like that spark is still there. It just turns from like the kind of like, it's kind of that like classic trope of like enemies to lovers, like it's which we love to watch. We love to see it go from that like kind of sparky like to them being like, oh wait a minute, there's something here. And I love their journey together. I think it's really cool, and I don't want to give too much away about the ending, but it's nice that like Anya at the end chooses her own destiny, and I think she realizes that Dimitri is a part of that. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Well, thanks for your time, guys. Best of luck. Hi, welcome to Sydney. How are you finding it so far, bringing this kind of really amazing looking production to Sydney?
Well, everybody's been so wonderful. It's just, this stunning experience where you just feel welcomed, and you get to see your work performed so beautifully. It's just great to be here.
There's so much levity to that animated motion picture, and adapting it to the stage must be quite challenging. Did you feel like you were, looking at adapting mainly the animated motion picture, or were you looking back at the 1956 motion picture to kind of, really fill in gaps? What was your process like in doing that?
I think we used the animated movie as a basis. Not the original movie so much, but we took it as sort of a jumping off point to a more mature piece, which we have now, which is real musical. It's a real Broadway musical, and it incorporates a lot of emotion and a lot of character, and far more than the animated movie. That was a wonderful jumping off point.
Because of the tragic elements in the history of a story, but also kind of creating the levity for a musical, must be a great tapestry for you as a lyricist to kind of go through all that. Totally. What's your creative process been like here? How you found that adapting new songs for this show, plus kind of revisiting some of the great stuff that you wrote before?
Every musical is sort of the same and sort of different. And in this case, it's the same in the sense that it's a big puzzle that you have to solve with all the many, many pieces fitting together beautifully. And in a way, it's the same because, in a way it's different because this particular story is unique and has not been told on the stage. That's one of the criteria that we use for wanting to do a musical. Have we heard it before? No. And it's a story that kind of cried out to be told. So that's very special about it.
When dealing with, the musical kind of numbers, are you looking at, the narrative more or more the character arcs, I guess, because a lot of the character arcs seem to be very well developed in this show compared to a lot of other ones?
What do you think?
Yeah, that's one of the things I think is so moving about this show is also, I think, Terrence McNally's work as a book writer as well. I just think his book scenes have so much depth and weight to them that it's, there's always more to be mined in the scenes and in the text and in this music. And everything is just so, it so supports the story and supports each other that then once actors get their hands on it, that everything they need is right there with the material. It's really exciting.
It's rare, not unheard of, but rare to have a world-class playwright write the book for a musical. There are playwrights who write books for musicals, but Terrence McNally is one of a kind, and so that's very special about this show.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks fantastic from what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Break a leg, best of luck, and I'm
Thank
sure
you
it's
so
going to do really well
much.
to see.
Thank you.
Hi Nancy and Josh, welcome back to Sydney. How are you enjoying the production so far?
Well, I'm loving it. Every second.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great production to be part of. Great cast, great company. We're really lucky. Excited to be in Sydney.
Nancy, you've kind of played a lot of interesting characters. What's the appealing elements that really drove you to this character, and
Well,
what was interesting about her?
It's great heart. It's a wonderful story, and of course she's a major part of the story because she's offered a reward to find Anastasia. And I have a marvellous scene with her in Act 2 that I look forward to every night. And when I first read it, I thought I'd just love to play this role and do that scene.
And Josh,
She does it so well. She's beautiful at it.
And Josh, just for you, you're kind of playing the, well, not so stereotypical bad guy, quite nuanced. What's your creative process been like? Have you found it more of, is he just the kind of a bad guy, evil, or is he a victim of kind of his environment, I guess?
I think it's the latter. I think the main thing with Gleb is he's constantly torn between love and duty and where he's placed within that. He's following what he believes is his duty in life, to follow in his father's footsteps and find these Romanov people, to get rid of them. But he's torn once he meets Anastasia, and torn with how he actually feels about her personally. I think that's what's made this story much more humanistic in comparison to what the animation sort of brought to life, with a sorcerer as your sort of villain. Having a Russian soldier as your villain in the production sort of brings a much more human side to the story, which I think is what makes it so easy to connect with as an audience, and easy to see the complications that Gleb deals with throughout the production.
Well, from what I've seen so far, it looks fantastic. Thanks so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Hello, Rhonda. Welcome back to Sydney. Thank you. This production, very interesting, fascinating, because you're dealing with, I mean, there's a bit of tragedy there, but it's also a musical, and it's a Broadway. How do you balance those themes, considering you've got a lot of loss there, but also you need levity, and definitely your characters are providing a lot of levity to the show. How have you managed that?
Well, I don't do much in the first half at all. And it is setting up the whole story. It is the tragedy. It is the journey. It is all those things. I think Vlad and Lily are like, the comedy, the comic relief. And it comes at the right time for people to go, oh, and have a laugh out loud moment.
I think in all good theatre has all those elements, and you get taken on that journey, the highs and the lows and the laughs and the poignant moments, and musical theatre is the best because then you get the beautiful songs and the beautiful musical moments.
So they can cry and they can laugh, and we get all those emotions, don't we, in this show?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a scene between Nancye and Georgina, which is get your box of tissues out, and then you hear the belly laughs for us. So I got everything in it.
Because of all those emotions that you're kind of drawing from, are you kind of drawing from anything in particular, or are you kind of just really letting the page and the script kind of drive your characters?
Yeah, I think when you dig into the story and you step into it, the story takes you along, and you have those emotions, and Vlad's character definitely has his lows. He has his emotional connection with the trio, and but then he has a hilarious time, and you just ride with the rhythm of the show.
Well, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Greetings once again, guys. Just got out of the media call for the brand new production to be playing and debuting in Sydney at the Sydney Lyric Theatre, and that is Anastasia the musical. Of course, it is based off the animated motion picture that was released all the way back in 1997. That had an incredible voice cast, including Meg Ryan, John Cusack, Angela Lansbury, Christopher Lloyd. Incredible kind of cast in that animated motion picture. This musical adapts that, does ground it, does make it a little bit more modern, and in essence, this musical is the grown-up version of that animated motion picture. A little bit less magic and mysticism, and a little bit more of a grounded kind of theme into this. So instead of having that Rasputin character, which involves a lot of that mysticism, they've kind of opted for the Russian Revolution, and that essentially being the antagonist to the plot for the lead character of Anya, who is thought to be Anastasia. Now, this story kind of does follow on from some real history, but also a little bit of the kind of fantasy elements where they essentially didn't account for all the remains of the Romanov family, who were infamously assassinated during the Russian Revolution, and it was thought that one of them may have survived, and in this case it was Anastasia. The lead character in this, Anya, does have amnesia, and she's just kind of really trying to find her identity, and it may be true that she actually is a Romanov, particularly Anastasia. So that's essentially the story. There is a bit of a love story in there, opposite the other character, Dmitri, who is a bit of a con man who's trying to kind of get some money out of that predicament that he finds himself in. A bit opportunistic, let me just say. But yeah, that is essentially kind of the plot, and you can imagine kind of how it unravels. From what I've seen so far today, the staging and the transitions are incredible. A lot of that's to do with lighting, a bit of projections, a bit of the kind of stage transitions. Most impressive, I was transported to St. Petersburg and Paris today in the Lyric Theatre. Fantastic production design. Congratulations to the team involved with that. Some interesting kind of songs too, but really what makes this production is the fantastic cast. In the lead role of Anya, we see Georgina Hopson. Such a fantastic voice and such a heartwarming kind of personality on stage and off. She is really fantastic. I can clearly see why she got cast in this, but a really impeccable, heartwarming voice. I thought she was wonderful from what I saw today. Also in the role of Dmitri, we see Robert Tripolino, who plays essentially the con man who is trying to kind of capitalise on Anya's amnesia and the possibility that she is a Romanov in the form of Anastasia. And of course, there may or may not be a love story involved with that, not to give any spoilers away. Also, we see in the role of Gleb, who is essentially a son of a Russian officer that was involved with the murders of the Romanov family in the Russian Revolution. That is played by Joshua Robson. That looks very interesting as well. Bit of a departure from the animated motion picture, but it does kind of ground it a little bit more, and it offers a bit of a different kind of perspective. Very interesting kind of character arc that he goes through. Is he a victim of his environment, or is it these active choices that they're making that these unsavoury acts that are motivating them? So it is interesting in that way. Also, some theatre legends appear in this production. First off the ranks, we see Rhonda Burchmore in the role of Countess Lily. She adds a bit of levity to the production, and from what I saw from her on stage today, she just is a scene stealer. She's utterly fantastic from what I've seen so far. Also, Australian theatre legend Nancye Hayes appears in this production in the role of the Dowager Empress. Funnily enough, that role in the animated motion picture was played by Angela Lansbury. So very well cast to kind of fill in that regal kind of gravitas that's needed for a production like this. But yeah, as I said, from what I've seen so far, the musical numbers are quite impressive, and so is the staging and of course the cast. A lot of positives about this production. From what I saw from the marketing prior to this, I wasn't totally sold on it, especially considering you've got Lion King at the Capitol Theatre kind of coming up, and you've got Phantom of the Opera, the mega production that is on Sydney Harbour. But this is a brand new musical. Pretty much a Broadway hit, but it's never been to Australia before. Has played in Melbourne. It is coming to Sydney, and it looks great, and I do recommend it from what I've seen so far. I will be seeing opening night this week, so extremely looking forward to that. But yeah, it looks like a tremendous production. Very thought-provoking, and they have brought some of the Broadway production team down for this, and they even brought the lyricist for the animated motion picture to the media call today, and it was interesting to kind of hear her thoughts about certain things and how the production kind of transitioned from animated motion picture to the musical on stage. And it really does seem quite impressive for what I've seen today. So definitely check it out while you can. Tickets are available now, and it does have a limited run in Sydney, but I do recommend seeing it from what I've seen today. It does look like a very high-end Broadway production. But aside from that, I am about to head off. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Also leave a comment to let us know if you have seen Anastasia on Broadway or in Australia, or what you're looking forward to. Also, if you have any questions about this production, I'm happy to kind of answer them in the comments. Aside from that, I'm about to head off. I'll catch you guys at the next one. So long.
One step at a time, one hope then another. Who knows where this road may go? Back to who I was, on to find my future. Things my heart still needs to know.